Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So, welcome to another market open stream. Let's talk about what's going on today. Something came out, a piece of important economic data that markets are trying to digest. Also, a lot of other good things to talk about as well, including how this pressure is building up for a Bitcoin melt up. Who is saying that? Well, let's discuss. All right, let's do it, guys. Let's do it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are starting out a day at 102.8. Unfortunately, a little bit lower than yesterday. We ended up above 104, and obviously recovering from our bottom of like 100, 101, and so forth. So yesterday we had a little spark, a little bit of a relief rally. What is today going to do? Right now, it's looking a little red once again. And that's because we got hit with this economic data. Job cuts in October, highest level for the month in 22 years. 22 years. Well, that's not good. Okay. So right now, the stock market is acting more normal, meaning that normally when we go through these phases where we want more rate cuts, bad data like this would actually send markets higher, and good data would send markets lower. This is during like, what do you call it? Easing periods. But right now, I think there's just a lot of concern right now in terms of how our economy is. And you mix in with, the tariffs, which is still ongoing. The Supreme Court is still looking at that. And then you add in everything else that's happening. There's just a lot of uncertainty. It's giving traders and Wall Street, like basically any excuse they have, they will basically sell, right? That's what it seems like right now. And there are a lot of people that think that the stock market is too high and too hot anyways. So, I don't know. We'll see. It's a mixed day right now. It was pretty green in the pre-market until this data came out. Then we turned red, but you could see Dow is still green. So maybe this is still going to be interpreted as good news, and we go into the green. I guess we'll see. Yesterday we had a decent recovery all around. Today you can see Nvidia's up. Robinhood had a spectacular earnings, and they're still down right now, which makes no sense. And I don't know where Coinbase is at. We'll look at it later. But this came out today. So we'll see how Wall Street reacts to this. This does strengthen, of course, the odds of a cut in December, which was already 90-something% until Powell said, no, we're not guaranteed to have a rate cut in December. Then it dropped to 60%, and now I'm sure this is going to bring it back up again. But, maybe ammunition for a 50 basis point cut in December now. We'll see. We will see. And I mentioned about Robinhood. One of the big takeaways, besides having just really good numbers, is that they said their prediction markets is hot. It's been growing, like the trades on their prediction market has been growing, like doubling every quarter or something like that. And obviously we know Polymarket has now become like a household name. Even like CNBC and others, Bloomberg, everyone is talking about and incorporating them. Prediction markets are going to be really, really, really hot. Really hot going forward. I think it's just, if you think about it, people just like to gamble. That's what it is. Now we're just allowing gambling, right? Sports betting, obviously, now that's legal, so many people are doing it. And now prediction markets, you could say it's a prediction market, but basically it's just people gambling again on events. So inherently, people just like to gamble. which is why so many people love to trade with leverage and why we have so many liquidations also. But then going forward, prediction markets will be a big part of crypto. That's for sure. Anyways, just a side note there. Let's look at ETF inflows, or rather outflows. Yesterday, everyone took in a lot except BlackRock. Not sure why they had a massive 375 million outflow when everyone else actually had an inflow yesterday. Kind of interesting. So overall net negative of 137 million. ETH, same thing. Outflow of 118 million. Mostly from BlackRock again. But Sol had a small little inflow day, about 10 million overall, but still no red yet for Sol ETF, which is good. All right. So what is this melt up that I'm talking about? Well, Ray Dalio says that gold and Bitcoin can melt up before a crash. And why does he think so? He thinks that the Fed and everything the Fed is doing is going to cause us to melt up. And I think specifically he's talking about the rate cuts, the easing that we are about to face, right? Not only it started already, but not only in December, but into 2026. And he feels like all this can cause actually gold and Bitcoin to melt up and then hit a bubble top and then crash back down. Right now we know that there's this build-up pressure, right? All of us could feel it. All of us are waiting for it. So I agree. Something's about to happen. And I think we're all ready for it. And when it does, there's going to be a lot of FOMO because a lot of people are sitting on the sidelines right now, waiting and waiting and waiting. And when that trigger hits, it's going to be massive. And you know, Tom Lee also agrees with that sentiment because he believes that that is exactly what's going to happen. He thinks that the slump was due to macro headwinds. Obviously, we had a lot of it. I talk about it all the time, like the thing with China, the Fed, and you know, tariffs, and now some bad economic data, obviously. But reversal is going to happen. And we could all feel it. And Tom Lee also thinks that it's going to happen as well. So just got to be a little bit more patient and wait it out. Ride out this period of staleness and volatility. Have patience. Remember, wealth is built by transferring from the impatient to the patient. The top Bitcoin treasury companies are certainly being patient. In the last week, even though it hasn't been a good week, 9 companies increased their holding. Only 1 decreased. But overall, if you add it all together, the top 100 public companies hold over 1 million Bitcoin. And that number keeps on ticking upwards every single week. So obviously, these guys do believe in Bitcoin and what Bitcoin's future will be like, right? What else? Kazakhstan said they're considering selling part of their gold reserve to buy Bitcoin. Awesome. What else can you say about that? More countries should think about doing that. Selling off their gold while it's high and buying Bitcoin while it's low. Just my opinion. All right. What else? Spot average order size. So you could see there are times when the whales start buying versus retail. So it's interesting to see that during our April bottom, retail was actually correct. Retail was actually loading up on that April bottom because we knew that something was going to happen, right? That fall to 70-something thousand was not the end of the cycle. Okay, that happened earlier this year. But you could see during crypto winter times, and sometimes when we start coming up, that's when the whales come in. The small whales and the large, ultra big whales start happening. This is very apparent, right? During like these long, prolonged like periods or crypto winter, where you could see the bottom moments are filled with just nothing but green. These are the whales loading up. But since what? Since April till now, you could see you don't have a lot of whale buying nor retail buying. It's just kind of like institutional buying at this point. But you could see the very first green dot appeared on this big whale order. They're starting to buy, right? Kind of what I've been saying. Like everyone feels it. We've been suppressed for too long, far too long. This is the period when we start moving. So I think even the big whales know that. Or they're the ones that go rule the market. Either way, it's encouraging to see that we got a green dot after waiting for 6 months without one. All right. Bitcoin holders are hurting. Here's why that's bullish. This is referring to this. Whenever you have a large percentage holding at a loss, that's usually a bottom point. And right now, it's the same thing. We saw it back in April. We saw it back in September of last year. We saw this at the beginning of 2024. So actually, this is just like measurement capitulation, basically. How many people are selling, so how many people are like at a loss, right? And usually that's a bottom moment when we turn back up again. So that is good in a way. It's kind of like the fear index. You know, the fear level went to 22 recently, and that is the same level as April. So history doesn't always repeat, but it does tend to rhyme. And we see a lot of similarities whenever Bitcoin finds that bottom and flips above. Here's something else that's comparing Bitcoin's level to gold and whether or not we're in the sell zone or buy zone. And this is certainly in the buy zone. We haven't seen this kind of level versus gold since 2023, when Bitcoin was still in the 30s and 40s. That means Bitcoin has a lot to catch up to in terms of gains. So that's also a bottom indicator. You know, last few things, basically, we're all waiting. We're all waiting for that next leg up. This cycle has been very different than previous cycles. We have a lot of similarities, but also you can see how our movement is just so different. It's very calm and steady upwards rather than these parabolic rises, right? And it could continue like that. If we don't see anything by the end of this month and nothing in December, then I think that proves that basically our 4-year cycle, where you have 1.5 years of tremendous upwards movement and then 2.5 years of crypto winter, goes away. We could just continue to do this forever. Slow and steady rises. And we avoid 80% crypto winter drops. It could actually be a good thing. It's just that it's not going to be as exciting anymore. Then we got into a point where we matured enough where it's almost moving like gold, right? Which, I don't know. There's good and bad takes for that. All right. Last few things. I saw this. Charles Schwab Plans are rolling out crypto trading in 2026. They have to, because Robinhood is eating their lunch. Like, only the older generation, like me and older people, use Charles Schwab still. Everyone else uses Robinhood. And Robinhood, I just got done saying, spectacular quarter. They have crypto and stock trading, options trading. They have prediction markets now. They literally have everything. Charles Schwab is kind of like ancient right now. So rolling out crypto trading is good because there's still a lot of people that are using Schwab. Yeah. So good all around. Let's see. We're still in the red. Man, why is Robinhood down 5%? You know, Coinbase after their earnings went up, popped up like 7%. Why is Robinhood down 5%? That pisses me off. But other than that, Bitcoin is still holding around where it is. And of course, Clash is still holding strong around 44 million. In fact, it ticked up from yesterday. So that's how strong Clash is and the community is. And that's it. All right, let's do some Q&A. Got a Clash question already. George, you try any Skeleton Giant clone decks? I don't think that's crypto related, but to answer your question, no. I haven't even tried a Giant Skeleton deck yet. Although I hate facing them. It takes forever to kill a Skeleton Giant. But thanks for that question. Do I think the government shutdown will last another 2 weeks? I think there's immense pressure on both sides to get it done. This government shutdown has been ongoing for way too long. It's actually one of the macro headwinds I forgot to mention. But it's embarrassing now. It's embarrassing that they can't come to a resolution. And, people are fed up. So I think it's going to come to a close soon. Maybe not this week. I think by next week, they got to resolve it. Right? It's just a really bad look all around. And people are suffering because of it. JL Modley, I appreciate that. I appreciate it. What's up with ICP? I have no clue. Not a project that I cover. Man, alts are really discounted right now. Retail is just so scared. Like, you could tell even in this chat. Retail is just really, really scared at this point. If you're a Bitcoin holder, majority Bitcoin holder, you're fine. You're not worried because you're still up, 100% since last year. But I could see altcoin holders, pure altcoin holders, or just your portion of your portfolio in altcoins suffering greatly. Just because right now, with everything we've been through, all the manipulation, suppression, liquidation, people just don't have a lot of faith in alts. They're not loading up like before. They're not holding and DCAing. Every dip we have, they get sold off. This cycle has been led by institutions. No doubt about it. Chit Chat Network. Good part of the end of the 4-year cycle would be end of high anxiety from prediction and top. And if that's the case, sky's the limit from here. You know, I maintain that there's a really good chance after this year we don't have crypto winter. We just have normal corrections and we just continue to do this, right? And it's more and more looking like that's the case. If we don't have a pump this month, although it's just the first week of November, but if we don't have a pump November and we move into December at the same levels, right? Then that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. Now, the worst case scenario is we make no moves, enter December, and then we start falling like crazy in January, like it's crypto winter. Then that would be the worst case scenario. But I don't think we're going to see that. The reason being, it's not just based on faith. The reason being, well, I just got done showing that, look at all these companies that hold Bitcoin. Look at the ETFs. They still have billions within. Unless everyone just says, okay, it's December. It's time to sell. Crypto winter's coming. Unless everyone does that, then, you know, I think we're going to be fine. But we'll see. I guess we'll see. JEA says, if you're overextended, you should be scared. It's not over yet. Santa is still coming. I still think we're going to see it. There's just too much pressure. And you can't hold that pressure back. Okay? This pressure, this FOMO. Tom Lee must be negative with his ETH holdings. Yeah, I don't actually know. I don't know if he publishes when BitMine started buying. It's just like every week you hear about, like, or before, it's like, oh, he bought $1 billion or 500 million or 400 million. But those must be above 4,000. There's nothing going on with Zcash. You guys could keep asking about Zcash all day long, and you're only interested because it's doing well, but there's no reason for it. It's just, there's somehow this like new notion that like privacy coins are going to dominate and this and that. I don't believe that's the case. Zcash has been around a long time. Monero has been around for a long time. Dash and others have been around a long time. Sometimes you go through these phases where it's just pure FOMO, especially when other things are doing bad. That's it. People are just like trying to FOMO. Look at how many people that are making stupid comments in the live chat, and they're all gone. I'm not going to let them stay. But man, so many bearish people, they're just trying to spread their own misery because they made mistakes and they feel insecure, and they're trying to bring everyone down to their level. So whenever we go through these periods, it's always like that. You always have these like bears that come out and they'll say, oh, I told you so. Oh, I told you it's going to go down. Oh, stop catching a falling knife. Those are the guys that stay poor. That's why they're so miserable. Because they fall for their emotions, they panic dump, or they never end up buying the bottom. And then all they do is spread their misery because they're losers in life. Don't listen to those people. H Bar says, I feel so miserable right now. I wanna rust paint my Lambo. Do it. I dare you to do it. That's what I try to do, Richard Williams. I try to make people stay level-headed and stay in the game. I've been through every cycle. I've been called every name during crypto winters and towards bottoms. But people that have followed me, people that have listened, people that have hodled and DCA'd, they're the ones that are up, the ones that made money, versus everyone else that tends to just like flip-flop every week, and they are making no money. And then they're miserable. And then they try to blame everyone else because of their inactions or actions. Do you think after 2025, crypto will no longer fly? Jorge, I said that. I think there's a really good chance of that. Should I be concerned about ADA not having euphoria phase? Even Cardano fans are beginning to get worried with his performance. See, I could feel for Charles Hoskinson, okay? Because Charles Hoskinson complained about this very thing. Like, what do you guys want me to do? I'm building, I'm improving Cardano, I'm doing all I can, I do these updates and stuff like that, and all anyone cares about is the price action. So I could feel for Charles Hoskinson, okay? If retail is scared and not buying, it's not going to move. It's that simple, okay? If you could tell by the chat, like half the people are bearish, and a small portion of that is just, you know, they're like insufferable now because they're just spreading hate. They're not even just like down or miserable. They're spreading hate. Yeah, and if it continues, if more and more retail turns that way, then none of these will recover. No altcoin is going to recover to their previous high. I don't know what the hell. I'm more bearish about this because I have a lot of hood options. I have no idea why Robinhood should be down today. Their earnings, they smashed earnings yesterday. Like top side, bottom side. The prediction market is killing it. I'm gonna be adding more hood at the end of the day. It makes no sense at all. They should be up like 20% today. But you know what? It's a buying opportunity. Well, you know what's green today? Clash is green today. It's the only thing in my chart. Well, besides silver and gold, a little bit. It's the only thing in my list here, watch list, that is green. Because that's how strong the community is. Sol, still not doing that well either. Can UK resident get in Clash? If so, how? Sure. Sure, Brian. All the links are in the description. You can navigate to the website and learn everything about it and get involved. Aster going to $10 faster than you think. I think it's gonna be a lot slower than you think. A lot slower than all of us think. Aster was highly, highly manipulated. A lot of controversy around it, and they're getting desperate. Because I had a marketer reach out recently, like saying, "Oh, we got a special offer for you if you start promoting Aster." So they are definitely in a world of hurt right now. And there's a lot of Binance and CZ controversy too. Do I foresee any recovery for a MicroStrategy? I personally don't like to hold MicroStrategy stock because I know Saylor's model is just to sell more stock every week. That's how he makes money to buy Bitcoin. So this going to be a lot of sell pressure on the stock for a long time. But also right now, Bitcoin isn't skyrocketing to a new high. If Bitcoin does and Euphoria comes back and FOMO hits, well then yes, MicroStrategies come back up. But right now we're kind of in that period where that's not happening. What's the best wallet to use? I need to get my crypto out of Robinhood. Well, Robinhood has its own wallet, so that's a start. But there's many others. I like Phantom a lot. They support ETH, Sol, Bitcoin, Sui. They support basically all the big ones. Rabby, which is also a good one to support everything else. And Trust Wallet is always solid. These are all like browser-based or mobile-based wallets. Are you planning to lower T2 down a little? Maybe 35 Sol like before. There's only one for listing. And that's because I got it back from one person. So, and it's a very high number. So no, I don't plan on lowering that. That's the only one that I have that's listed. Everything else, it's actually listed by someone else. That's not me. Those that are listed at like 130 or 150 or 200 Sol, that's all like an individual person. Target's sloppier stores are worrying on shoppers and turnaround hinge on cleaning them up. What does that mean? Sloppier stores. So there are some Targets that are like Walmarts. I mean, most Targets I go to are fine. I don't know if that's really the issue. This really hit today's market. Today was actually green until this hit. Now people are scared. JEA says, sorry, but I gotta say it. Retail is called dumb money for a reason. Institutional state dominates the cycle. What you sell, they take, and now they're just rotating assets. Arts are coming strong. I 100% agree with you on this. That's why they call it smart money versus dumb money. Most retail investors, they follow the herd. If they see everyone else selling, they're going to sell. If they see everyone else buying, they buy. Very rarely do they do the opposite where they buy low and sell high. They always end up buying high because they're FOMOing in and then selling low because they're panic dumping. While the institutions and the big money and smart money does the opposite. But you could say that all day long, like what I try to emphasize. And I always try to have a positive spin on things because that's what I believe. You could tell the people that are spreading hate, that are absolutely miserable, they don't care because they don't follow that. They just want to be FOMOing when everything is good. I panic dump in the bathroom. I don't know why I read that comment, but at least it's a funny comment versus all the other ones right now. There's just way too much fear right now. It wouldn't even be that bad if it wasn't for like the people that are just trying to spread hate. This is why I enjoy my night stream so much now. You know, everyone there, part of the Clash community, super hopeful, super excited, and watching me game. Rather than in the mornings, you have all these trolls and haters that come in and just try to spread hate and ask, it's just like, it's a totally different thing. It's like I enjoy my night streams way more than my morning streams now. But it always happens every single cycle. Whenever the market turns red or goes through these like prolonged weaknesses, it happens every single time. Every single time. Earlier this year, same thing. From what, January to April, same thing. We saw Bitcoin go from 109,000 down to 73. It was pretty bearish. Pretty bearish. But guess what? We recovered. Do you have the link to Night Gaming? Yeah, it's in the description. You know, everything I talk about with Clash, with our tournaments, giveaways, my other channel, everything is in the description of this video. And it has been for a long time. So if you want to learn more about any of these things, go in the description of the video, which I know you could go to because you're watching me either on your desktop or mobile, and in both, you could click on see more and check out the description. Alts were much stronger in March and April. You sure about that? You sure about that? Let's check. Someone said alts were much stronger in March and April. This is March and April. Okay. Where was ETH March, April? ETH was down 1,500. 2,000 to 1,500. That was March and April. Sol, March and April. 120, 90. I don't know. Just do SUI. March and April. $2, got down to 170. XRP, March and April, around $2, went down to 173. So was alt better back in March and April? The answer is no. Some were much worse. Even in BNB, let's see. March and April, 500. So, yeah, I mean, obviously it's not optimal that some of these are close to their March and April level, but everything I checked is still higher. And some are much higher. So this notion that, oh, things were better in March and April. No, they weren't. No, they weren't. Not for Bitcoin, not for ETH, not for Sol, not for BNB, not for anything. It was worse. I really want to see Hood come back up. And Clash. Look at that. Looks like we have found the bottom again. If you look at stochastic, looks like we have found that bottom. We're flipping back up again. I'm incredibly proud of Clash. And I just figured out a new system for tournaments that will change dynamics of how prizes and tournaments will be held. Something I've been thinking about for weeks now. Something that I couldn't solve. And I think I finally solved it. I think it's going to be awesome. This will allow anyone to come in, pros, semi-pros, average Joes, casual players, to all come in and enjoy the tournaments and contribute to Clash and help it grow. So I'm going to reveal that later today, but I think I finally solved it. It's not an easy problem to solve. Yeah, with Hood, I'm buying it. There's absolutely no reason for it to be down 7% right now. It's like zero. That's almost like Wall Street's doing it on purpose to scare people out before they drive it up. It makes absolutely no sense. Their quarterly report was spectacular yesterday. They beat on revenue. They beat it on profits. Their prediction market is growing by 300% every quarter, or year over year, doubling every quarter or something like that. They're hitting on all cylinders. Then there's nothing stopping them. So it just makes no sense. But anyways, I'm going to be buying. I'm going to be loading on more at the end of today. That's the one thing. That's the one play that I really believe in. Besides Nvidia. Nvidia is never going to stop. Chuck Finley says, I haven't spent 1 cent on Clash. 3,600 trophies, tough without spending money. Yes, you could do it. I shared this like earlier this year. I got to 6,000 trophies before spending a single dime. I didn't even know EVOs existed. I just kept grinding. You could do it. After 6,000s, it becomes nearly impossible if you don't start buying some of the stuff in there. But you could do it up to 6,000s. If you're a pro, you could do it. You could go all the way to 15,000 without spending any money. I've seen people do it. Just depends on how good your skill level is. But after 6,000, it becomes really hard. Eight points is stuck at 7,000. Super Profici 6,500. Yeah, around that point, 6,000 is tough to get out of. Patrick, it's all in the description of this video. You can find everything you want to know in this video. Alan said, I woke up today from a nightmare this morning because a Clash green candle was in my dream. Thought I missed a buying opportunity. True story. Thanks for sharing that. I think a lot of people have really high hopes for Clash. Those that understand, that are in the community, understands that what I'm trying to do, and people that truly understand knows the potential. There are a lot of people that are still missing out or fading it, whatever, because they don't truly understand. But if they do, they would all be super excited. That's okay. In time, more and more of you guys will become Clashers. Hopefully, not too late though. Is Ledger Flex a good cold wallet? Yeah, anything from Ledger is not bad. Any of the cold wallets out there aren't bad. Just know that cold wallets are fine as long as you have your recovery phrase protected. Because all the security, biometrics, pins, and all that, the passwords, none of it matter if you lose your recovery phrase. Okay, and that's the one thing that none of them does a really good job with. They give you like a paper card and they expect you to just write it on it as a backup. That's the most important thing, not the device. Ledger Live and all, the pin code and everything, none of that matters. If you lose your recovery phrase, you lose all your crypto. So I haven't really seen a good solution for it. I met these guys at a SUI conference once. They had something built in where they're using your face or whatever, which was actually a pretty good, elegant solution. But, then again, if you get kidnapped or something, someone could just scan your face. All right, guys, I'll let you go. Overall, we're waiting for that pressure to be released, right? I know that sounds funny. But hang in there, guys. Things will get better. They always do. Everyone that understands Bitcoin understands that we go through these moments. We will get through it, okay? There's always scary times for one reason or another. There's always something, and we will get through it. You just got to be patient, hold on DCA. That's it. That's it. All right? Smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see the rest of you guys tonight, either streaming or my video. All right? Have a good one. Take care.